So the other question I got to ask you is you do a lot of work with new teachers entering the profession. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, okay. So like, maybe I don't even know if I want to ask this question. Are they all freaked out? Like, are they all like, oh, yikes. Do I want to go into this? Like, do you see a difference now of people entering the profession than you would maybe a couple of years ago? Like, what's the perception as they enter the space? Because like you said, 2021 is like, I have, the majority of people I've talked to over the last year said this is like the hardest year ever. And I don't think that's like it's true, but I don't think people are like, oh, I can't wait to get into this profession that's way harder than it was even when I first started, going to college for it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I feel like it's something that they don't want to talk about a whole lot, but I think that comes out in a little bit of tidbits. So I think for one example is that each of the student teachers that I'm seeing right now in my supervision and coaching is that they're extremely passionate for building relationships with kids.
Right.
And they are less focused on, I think, more of the instructional pieces, but being there for kids and building relationships, which I have told them is that everything else can come next. Just build relationships with kids. But at the same time, I tell them it's that you got to go to places. You got to be really strategic. As a new educator nowadays, you got to be really strategic in where you want to go, what do you want to do, and create habits that for yourself could be sustainable. Creating those personal boundaries. Like, for example, I always tell them, fitness, like eat healthy, get enough sleep, possibly, talk to someone that's outside of your circle, or, I think you have to have those supports in place. And to be honest, not everyone has those opportunities. And I just think that you have to have that support infrastructure around you and be strategic about where you want to go for you to be successful. And without that, then it's going to be, you're going to be in trouble. And like I told the teachers last night in our session about digital portfolios and the hiring process, is that you have the choice to pick, ask questions, look at, I told them to ask about the master schedule. The master schedule is a bigger determinant of culture, I think, than most of the items that you could ask someone. Look at how much prep time you have. Do they have PLCs? Those are really important questions. And I think that, a lot of the teachers nowadays, if you're a teacher candidate right now, you should be the one interviewing the districts. Interview the schools.
That's actually, like, I'm interested about that, and I don't know if that's you're in like Southern California, right? So, like, when I first started teaching, you took whatever job you can get.
I know,
right? So I don't know, I don't know if that's, I know, like, you hear stuff about like the Great Resignation, and like that's not like, if you think that's just only happening in education, then you're in a bubble. Right? Like, it's happening in basically all professions. But the reality of that is, you think it's shifted that much where teachers actually, coming into the profession have way more choice over the jobs that they take than when I first started?
Oh, I think so. If you have specialized credential, these students have dual language. They can do Spanish and English. Then also special education. I think people that are going in with special education, these are the two groups. You have the leverage, ask the questions, because those are what are needed, and go somewhere that best suits you. And I think that's just for every teacher. I think that depending on where you go, it depends. San Diego's a competitive market versus, for example, San Bernardino, California, or Visalia or Sacramento, right? But there's places where I know that they'll interview and they'll give you the job the next hour. So, it's being strategic, and where do you want to end up? And you want to be places where that you have an opportunity that they can sustain you, and you have a great opportunity to, grow and build relationships with the kids as well as the community there.
So and I appreciate that you're talking about, like, really kind of interviewing the district and how important that is as people are welcome into the profession. I think the other part of it too, like, the district will tell you a lot about when you're leaving it too.
Yeah, well,
and you can actually be. Someone said this, that, and it wasn't in education, but it's so true, that more people make decisions about the district or the area that they work in based not on the first 3 months, but on their last 3 months. And that's where they start doing that. Like, what happens when they know you're leaving? How do they treat you? How do they connect with you? Right. And there is that disconnect where people are like being treated extremely poorly. And again, this is people, not systems. This is people like leading and creating systems. But the reality of this is you think, oh, well, this person's leaving. So like, what do I care how they feel when they're going? Well, that person's leaving, and then they're going to talk to all their teacher friends and say how much your district sucks and how they treated you poorly, as opposed to like make sure that when people are walking out that they're like I think the best thing you can do as a district is make people like have like regrets they're leaving because they just appreciate it so much. Not like, oh, you're gonna regret it, but that idea is like, wow, like this is a place that I felt really cared for, and this is a very tough decision because I don't know if I'm going to feel this way, because then you'll become, even in your absence, you'll become an advocate for that place, and I think that's lost on a lot of people too, right?
Yeah, I think that's a huge piece of the puzzle there. And if you empower someone to grow and learn, and they're going to help your organization, your district, and then they're going to say great things about you in their next stage, and that could be great for you. That could be great for recruiting people into your district and school, and you want to be that, and you want to have people have a good taste in their mouth when they leave.